Hi, welcome back to Good Screen Nation, where your views count. Hi guys, just a quick spoiler alert. This film will have spoilers in it, so if you don't want to know, please come back and watch my review after you've finished watching the film. Now I just want to talk about the new film called Devil All the Time on Netflix. This film, the way it started off, to be honest, was really slow to me. The story was really slow, and the film was really long. But with that said, really getting into it is a really good film, a really solid story with some really superb actors in there. You know, I feel like the child actors of this film, were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. They had me believing in the story, and I feel like their names should be up there with the names of the well-known actors, and I think that's something that needs to improve on in the future, to be honest. It's something that really needs to be improved on in the future. I mean, the film is very horrific in a non-horrific sense. It's weird because there's a lot of murders in the film. There's a lot of scenes, but there's one scene that really crosses my mind a lot. It's a scene about where you've got a pastor who basically his faith is, I don't know, you could call his faith either stupid or you could call his faith deceivably wrong. Yeah, you could call him crazy. There's a lot of things you could call him. But, like, let me pose this question to you about what this pastor, this church preacher does. He takes his wife out into a place like this place, I'd say like a woods. And he has her kneel down. And then he, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he decides to stab her. Now, he stabs her because his faith is so strong, that he believes that he's going to resurrect her from the dead in the name of Jesus. So what did he do? He tried to resurrect her from the dead. And what happened? Yeah, you guessed it. She didn't come back from the dead. So he had to leave her, where he buried her, and went away. So his faith wasn't strong enough to heal this woman. Now, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, what is your thoughts on this whole faith idea? I mean, some people are religious, some people are not religious. Some people believe that if you ask for anything in the name of Jesus, as Christians, if you ask for anything in the name of Jesus, he will give it to you. I mean, and this preacher clearly showed in this film that he tried that and it never worked. So it's very controversial. It's a very controversial point that is trying to be made. He made it out like this guy is crazy. But obviously, it's just a story. It's not real. It's just fictional. I mean, it's based off a real book. And the way how the film was, the way how it was filmed, it felt like I was watching a storybook, but not in a bad sense, in a good sense. It had scenes that kind of seemed to start from a beginning, middle, and end. It's like you felt like there was closure to it all, and that's a really good thing for a film. Right, I'm going to add another important point, which I think needs to be said about this preacher man and his faith and what he done to his wife. Personally, on this perspective, I think that I wouldn't do such a thing. I wouldn't take the risk of taking my partner's, who I solely love, life. I couldn't do it. I know there's stories in the Bible, and in fact, it's even mentioned in there. A new preacher comes to that town, and a new preacher talks about, you know, sacrifices that are made, and that film does specify a lot about sacrifices that have to be made. And in the Christian and in the Jewish religions and stuff like that, if you read the Bible, the Torah and things, you know, it talks about, you know, sacrifices that have to be made. Even Jesus sacrificed himself for us, yeah, according to the religion. So, you know, I do kind of understand the concept, but for me personally, where my heart is at, if it don't feel right, I'm not going to do it, you know. But this preacher, I think personally he's crazy, because who would pour like some disgusting creatures over yourself in front of a church congregation just to prove your faith, and end up in hiding, you know, until he gets better. So, you know, with that said, he should have learned from his first lessons. Maybe God was teaching him, you know, lessons that he should learn personally himself. But, you know, it's a good film. It's a good lot of topics in there for discussion, really. This film, there's another scene that's really kind of was a really interesting story part of the film, where you had this serial killer couple that would go out and basically seduce a man into pick up hitchhikers and basically seduce a man into basically having sex with his wife, and then they'll just kill them and take pictures. Really strange, sick part of the film. I can understand why they called this film Devil All the Time, because it seemed like the devil was at work in that town and in the neighboring towns all the time, because the things they were coming up with were just pure evil. Yeah, pure evil. If you like Big Screen Nation, please support, please subscribe. This film as well. You know, the acting was on point, you know, from the beginning to end. I don't really see any sort of clear sort of blunders. This film didn't need special effects, you know, this film didn't need any hype to it or anything like that. It was just a really good story written by a really good story writer and directed really well. Yeah. It's not the sort of usual film that I would actually go for, yeah, but this film has opened me up to kind of like, you know, to be more open-minded to everything. Well, I've got to be open-minded to everything, innit? I review movies, but what I'm just saying is that this film had me open my mind to, you know, really getting into these storybook films, like, you know, films based off, you know, stories. Like, usually I have a perception of films based off storybooks now. It's going to be dragging. It's going to be like a boring book. But obviously, you know, the book was so good that, you know, it made it to the movies. So, you know, I need to be a self-assessment. I need to, you know, be less judgmental towards it. Overall, for this film, out of 1 to 5, I'll give this film 4. I'm going to leave it at 4. I was going to say 4.5, but I'll leave it at 4. 4 out of 5. Now, the reason why I would say 4 out of 5, yeah, is because if it was a bit shorter, I would have given it 5. But because the film's a little bit long, I'll give it 4. Like, 4. Yeah. A comfortable and a happy 4 out of 5. It's one of the best films of 2020 that I've watched on Netflix so far. Not the cinemas, but in Netflix. It's one of the best films I've watched on Netflix so far.